8 things we wish we knew before our first Disney cruise. All right, we went on a Disney cruise a few years ago, and we knew absolutely nothing.
Zero.
And these are a few things, 8 to be specific, things that we want you to know before you go on your first Disney cruise.
Hopefully this helps you if you're planning a cruise, or maybe if you're thinking about going a cruise someday. Check out this list that we have, because it certainly is something that we wish we knew before we went. It would definitely make our experience much better, and hopefully yours.
Yeah, there was a couple things on this list that I thought that I knew, which I didn't. And I think depending on what kind of person you are, some of these things on this list may make your cruise experience a whole lot better.
Yeah, agreed.
So let's get into the list right now.
Yeah, and some of it, I don't know if it's obvious to a lot of folks, right? If you're not necessarily a cruiser, I think these are some things that you need to know. But yeah, starting off with the number one specific to Disney Cruise Line, I just wish I knew that Disney Cruise wasn't just for kids. You often see advertisements for Disney Cruise Line. It's always like family and kids, and of course it caters to them. But I wish I knew that it was also catered for adults. It's like a next level adult cruise.
Yeah, there's a whole adult area. You know,
Yeah.
it is specifically family oriented. There's
sure.
a lot of things, the dining theming. But yeah, if you're an adult and you just want to have really great service and you want to enjoy yourself while you're out at sea, Disney Cruise is a great place for that. And they do accommodate adults really well. They have adult specific areas, whether that be lounges or pool areas or parts of the ship for specifically adults where kids aren't allowed.
I just think that Disney Cruise Line does something where it gives you that extra level of attention, cleanliness, and all that you can't necessarily find on other cruise lines. Yes, it's themed with Disney, but it's not totally in your face all the time.
Yeah, no, they do a good job of making it not in your face all the time.
It's a splash of Disney. There's characters, of course, but you don't necessarily have to go to them. You don't have to do the meet and greets. There are just so many wonderful things that I think that it caters to adults looking for a relaxing time.
Next one, and this is specifically my contribution to this list, is
Great.
You can sit alone at dining. And some of you may be thinking to yourself, what do you mean you can sit alone at dining? What does that even mean? Because that was me before I went on my first Disney cruise. If you don't specifically ask to sit alone, they may sit you with other families. And as an introverted person who isn't the most comfortable sitting with people you don't know while eating, you may want to look into the fact that you can sit alone and request that before you go on your first Disney cruise.
I think that's huge for introverts or people that just want alone time in general while eating. It can be a little bit uncomfortable. For me, I can go either way because sometimes we have kids and sometimes our kids behave better when they're around strangers. So I necessarily never minded being sat with other people, but I agree. I mean, it can be a sensory overload at dinner and you just want to take that break and just eat and enjoy yourself, enjoy the theming, enjoy the dinner itself. So it's a great tip.
Yeah, and you know what? It really caught me off guard because we got to dinner and there's other people there, and I'm like, what
You
are
didn't
you
know?
doing? What am I sitting at this table for? I'm not part of their family.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you are tonight. And I was like, oh, no, I don't want to do that. But yeah, ask to be sat alone. Or if you don't mind, maybe you like meeting people. Maybe you're an extrovert and like it's exciting to you to be able to sit with someone you don't know and hear their story and have a good time. Or maybe you're alone. And instead of sitting alone, you want to sit with other people. So it's like not as awkward.
Definitely it's not for everybody, but it can be, right? And so there are certain tips and things and ways you kind of have to know yourself and what you're looking for out of the cruise itself before you make your decision. And I think it just make a better overall experience. It would have made my experience a little better because you were a little bit kind of caught off guard.
Yeah, I was not comfortable sitting with other people. I would rather die.
That's right. My next contribution would be, I wish I knew to study the ship map before boarding, before going on the actual cruise. And some ships are smaller than others. So Disney Cruise Line, it starts at a certain level and it goes up, the Magic and so forth. But some of them, like the Dream, the Wish, they're relatively large ships. And it can be really difficult to navigate and just really know what's on board, what's available. So I wish I just kind of sat and that's part of the excitement too, the pre-planning part, was just kind of taking time to look over all the amenities and things to do, as well as know where I'm going.
And also make sure you investigate your ship a little bit because they do have certain things on the ship, like the way the rug goes or the way your number on your room points to the front or the back of the ship. So there are ways and signals that Disney puts on. They don't tell you before you get on the ship that, hey,
buddy,
this is how the rug lays out and it points towards the front of the ship. It's something that you have to investigate and know on your own.
That's Bruce's job. You should do that.
Yeah.
Can you just hire you like, hey.
Go that way. I'd be the guy that's outside of the plane with the light. Just you're going to the front of the ship, you got to go that way.
Yeah,
buddy.
that's all. That's all they need.
But there's things that you can do to kind of research a little bit. You don't want to over-research because sometimes exploring the ship and being in the moment is one of the best parts, but you don't want to get lost.
I just think you should know your bearings, especially with the newer ships like the Wish. That is one thing that has been kind of across the board. Some feedback has been that it's a little bit difficult to navigate. It makes it a little bit harder to kind of wander because at the end of the day, you want to know what is available and where you're going.
Absolutely. And the next thing is the slides are great, but the pools, probably something you won't use that much.
Yeah, the pools aren't the greatest, but I do think the over 18 pools are a little bit better. They're not as crowded, and it's a nice place to cool off. But I agree with you. Don't go in with the expectations that the pools are humongous and amazing. You still are on a boat at the end of the day. So
there is limited capacity and space. There are plenty of places for you to sunbathe though, or relax on lawn chairs. But if you're looking to say, if you're thinking to yourself, all right, I can't wait to get on the ship and go swimming in the pool and relax in the jacuzzi, probably not something that's going to happen. So just be prepared for that.
Have those expectations and you won't be disappointed.
That's right. That's something that I did not know. I did not know how small. The way they take videos of the pool makes it look really big, and you get there and you think to yourself, wow, that's a tiny pool.
They look ginormous and amazing and refreshing, but what you don't see is the amount of people that are actually in the pool at all times or the jacuzzi at all times. They kind of somehow don't show you that until you arrive and you go, oh, that's what it's really like. It's kind of like the Instagram in reality.
Some reason the cruise ships are the only places that have 15-person, 12-person jacuzzis.
My next one is something I wish I knew because it would have made us really wake up much nicer and relax. But you can order room service for breakfast. And I absolutely wish I knew this because it is just great. There's so many dining places on board, but having a veranda especially and being able to enjoy your breakfast coffee right on the veranda is something that I wish we did.
Definitely. I wish I did that too. And you can schedule it to come at a certain time every morning. And you can get room service in your room at any point during the day, 24 hours a day. So you can say, hey, listen, I want coffee. I want this delivered to my room at 6:30 every morning. And you can have a light breakfast in your room while you wake up, you get ready, and then you can go to the dining hall to eat a full breakfast later. But there is coffee available if you walk up to the drinking area on one of the decks of the ship. But to get room service delivered to your room and not have to go anywhere is amazing.
I mean, just a really nice way to wake up, right? Enjoy your view and take your time. Even if you don't have a veranda, maybe you just want to enjoy the quiet. Again, if you're an introvert and you need that sensory time alone, not with a crowd, it's just a great place to just hang and enjoy some breakfast and just kind of come to yourself before you're embarking for your day.
I remember sitting on the veranda while the ship was backing into Castaway Cay, and I had my coffee, and it was the most peaceful experience you could have. Seeing an empty Castaway Cay, your ship is backing up, it's early in the morning, the sun's rising, you're enjoying your coffee. It was probably one of the better experiences on the ship.
Pure bliss, for sure. All right, my next one is I wish I brought magnets to decorate our stateroom door, just because back to trying to navigate the ship, they all look the same. All the hallways seem to kind of look the same. And just having something to just familiarize yourself besides the actual numbers of the door really goes a long way, especially if you have, any kind of like math disability, dyscalculia, if numbers jump out at you and you just can't focus. Just have something.
And there's a couple different things that people do on the ship. They have fish extenders where there's groups of people that surprise people, which is fun. If it's your thing, it's not my thing.
No.
But I like the decorating door part because you can express yourselves with the decorations on your door, but you don't have to participate in any group activities.
To me, it's just literally just finding the door at night. That's all I need it for.
I just think it's fun. Like you get to sit on, you get to decorate your door, and the fun part about walking through the halls is seeing how other people decorate their doors.
Yeah, you can see their personalities and just the unique ways that they can design it, and it's fun.
Yeah, some of these people are very creative with the way that they decorate their door, and I always walk by their door and I think to myself, wow, I wish I thought of that.
Remember, magnets, not tape. You don't want to do anything that takes away the integrity of the door because that's another layer of an issue that can arise, but they do allow the magnets, and it's super fun. All right, next one. Just arrive a day before your cruise.
Yeah, you don't want to be stressed out and late and worried about making it onto the cruise ship or not. the best thing you can do is there's a whole bunch of hotels and transportation available for you to get from wherever you're staying to the boat. Get there a day before. Even if it's in Orlando, you fly into Orlando and you're flying out of Port Canaveral or something like that, get there a day before. You don't want to be stressed out, and it's not that expensive to stay one extra day.
It's just peace of mind. Anything can happen if you're flying or driving down to Florida, Port Canaveral, wherever you're taking your cruise. It's just really important because you never want to be in a situation where the boat leaves without you. And unfortunately, they will not wait for you. So
they wait and try to locate everybody as much as they possibly can, but there is a hard deadline in which they have to get out of there.
They're leaving, and unfortunately that will be so sad if you can't go on your cruise because your flight got delayed for a random reason.
Yeah, and it's not the same as staying at a resort where if you're late and you get there at midnight and your plane is behind and you're running late, you're fine. When you're on a cruise ship, if you're late, you missed your cruise.
Yeah.
There's nothing worse than paying for a cruise, anticipating it, and then not being able to get there on time.
Just get there early. It's a peace of mind. There are some people that still kind of take the risk and will fly in that morning. Not for us.
Definitely not. I am too neurotic
I know.
to be able to do that. I need to know I'm there, and I need to know that I'll be waiting at the cruise ship dock 7 hours before the cruise, just so I know I'm there.
And you've seen and heard of people having that issue. So knowing that and knowing that it is a big risk, it's just not worth it.
So to recap, it's not just for kids. The pool looks great. You probably won't swim in it.
Right.
Get some coffee delivered to your room in the morning. It's free. It's going to make your experience a whole lot better. What else did I miss there?
Well, the last one, which is number 8, is Castaway Cay is so amazing. Don't underestimate a day at Castaway Cay. It is by far one of my favorite islands. It's Disney's private island. It's so well organized. Cast members are just so gracious and welcoming. It's just a beautiful place to be.
And I'm not a beach person. So if you're listening to this podcast or watching this YouTube video, I am not a beach person. So being on the cruise ship and looking forward to Castaway Cay on my first trip was not something that I was super excited to do. I thought it was going to be kind of boring. You just sit on the beach.
Yeah.
You go in the water for a little bit, and what's the big deal? But sitting on the beach, in the hammock, snorkeling, renting a bike on Castaway Cay and exploring the island, there is so much to do for that one day that you are there. Get off the boat as early as you can and explore the island. You're going to have so much fun and make so many memories with your family that you're going to look back on and be grateful that you did.
Yeah, it's a great place. Well, that's going to do it. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I really hope that you can remember these things that we did wrong, that we hope that you don't do so that you have the best time ever.
I know. We are like the crash test dummies of Disney vacations. We make all the mistakes for you so you don't have to.
There you
if you want to check out our podcast, I'll link that in the description below this video. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment. Have you been on a Disney cruise? If you have, what's a tip that maybe we didn't talk about on this podcast that you would suggest, or maybe something you learned on your first Disney cruise that would help others?